Hello everyone, Zenith20 back again. In this video, we'll be discussing about another important part of generally all programming languages, including VB. So, we'll today be discussing about switch statements. What exactly are switch statements? A switch statement is another decision structure and is a type of control flow statement that is used to evaluate multiple conditions or cases. Depending on the result of the expression, a certain block of code will be executed. Switch statements can be used to evaluate a wide range of conditions and make decisions based on those results, like if conditions. Now, some of you might ask, what exactly is the difference between the if statement and the switch statement? Well, firstly, a single if statement is used to choose between two options of true or false, but the switch statement is used to choose between numerous options. Secondly, it is difficult to make changes to an if else statement because it is time consuming to figure out where the changes need to be made. Switch statements, on the other hand, are simple to change since they are easy to trace. Thirdly, an if statement can use complex expressions that combine multiple conditions, while a switch statement can only use simple expressions that evaluate one condition. So we have a variable declared myvar with the value of 10. And now we will make a case statement, select if statement. To create our case statement, we will first start with the keyword of select, and then we'll give the case keyword followed with the expression you want to test. So we have my var in this case. After this, you can see that the editor has given us the case and the end select. Every select should end with the end select keywords. So in the case, we need another expression. The three types of expressions we'll be discussing in this video. We'll first go with the first kind of expression, which is straightforward, just a value, which matches the data type of your variable or the expression you're testing. So we are checking if the case is 4. After this, we are going to give the indentation, and then we can give the number of statements we want to write. So I'll be writing a console.writeLine, and we will say that it is equals to 4. And we can again write another case statement, and we can give any other case on which we want this variable to be tested. So we can choose 10, and we'll give the same statement, which will be equals to 10. Now, if we run this, you'll see that we got the statement equals to 10. So it essentially kept this case and it went on to this case because it saw that the case matched with the test variable which we were testing. This was the first kind of case which you could write, or the first way in which you could give the expression. The second way in which you can give an expression is by using the to keyword. So we can write case 1 or any number, and then we'll give the to keyword, and then we'll give our second number. Now, what essentially that I've done is that I'm declaring the expression as the case if the variable which we're testing will match the case which is any number between 1 to 5 inclusive to run the following commands. You can test this by giving another write line statement, and you can write between 1 and 5. We can again give another statement, but this time we can do it from 10 or maybe from 9 to 20, for example. And we can do it also over here. So when we run this, we'll get it equals to 10 because it first matched with this. And then it gets off the select statement, as you can see. But if we remove this case as well, if we remove this case, now it will not be matching this case. So it will go on to the next case. It won't match this case. It will go on to the next case, which will be this case. And then it will get off the select statement. So we can see it went with the last case and it gave us the correct one, which is between 9 and 20. Again, this was the second way of writing the expression. Now there's a third way of writing the expression, and the third way is to use the is statement followed with a comparison operator. Yes, you can also do comparisons in case statements. So the way you can do that is by writing the is keyword followed with any kind of comparison operator. It can be lesser than or equals to, can be greater than or equals to, or greater than or lesser than. In this case, we will go with greater than 5, and we'll write that it is greater than 5 to make sure that it is working. We can also do if it is greater than, for example, 20. You can move this above, and you'll see that it will ignore this, and then we'll move on to this one. And we can see that it has given us greater than 5. Now, we had studied all of these three different ways of doing the statements, but there is another way of writing these expressions, and that is by combining all of them. So we will combine first of all the basic expression. So we can say if the case is equals to 1, and we'll separate each of those cases which we want to give with the comma. So first of all, we'll give the simple expressions. So we are saying that if it matches case 1 and 2, then run the following commands. Again, we can also match other expressions, which can be the range expression, as I previously mentioned. If it is from 5 to 9, 5 to 8 inclusive, then again it will also match the case. We can also again use the third type, which was the using of the is keyword, and that is if it is greater than or if it is at least lesser than, for example, 30. We can console dot write line showing us that if it is working or not. So this case statement will be run because 10 is obviously lesser than 13 by the running of this third condition over here. You can see it is working. We can also test the 5 to 8. So if you're going to give, for example, 6 over here, if you assign my var 6, you'll see that again we are getting the working statement. Now we can also test for 1 and 2. If we'll do with 2, you can see it gave us again working. However, if I'm going to give something which totally does not match, for example, the case 4, the case 4 is not among this condition, neither this and neither this and neither this condition. So if I'll give the value of 4, we'll see that it has given us equals to 4 and not the second condition. So aside from this, we have learned that these can be evaluated to any expression as long as they can be evaluated, they can be valid cases. But did you know that you could also change this expression which you're testing over here? So this was one of the ways in which we could write the statement. We could also not use a variable and we could simply just use numbers. So if the case is 2 plus 2 and if it is 4, it will give us equals to 4. We can even use strings in this case. And if we write again the variable over here, which we want to use as the test, and then we can give the case as the word, you'll see that this statement again will be run. Another way in which you could write is by again using the greater than statements, because then it would start evaluating to true and false. So we can write it with my var if it is greater than, for example, 10. And in this case specifically, you will have to use a Boolean value because we know that this is a Boolean condition and it will only evaluate to true and false, not to any number. So if my var is greater than 10, then we want to check first of all for the true condition. We can say that it is greater than 10. Otherwise, if it is false, we can write that it is lesser. You'll see that this will evaluate to false and we'll get the lesser value. And it has given us the exact result. Now, lastly, if none of your cases match the given variable, so if you have my var and if you have given to it the cases of 3 and 5, if none of these cases will be selected or run because the condition does not match none of them, then we can provide a fallback, and that fallback can be written by writing case else. The case else only runs if none of the above cases have run. So in the case else, we want to provide not matching, for example, and we'll see that that case else will be run. Other than that, if we'll give any other value, it will not, of course, run the case else, but it will go to the case, and again, it will then terminate it, and it will go out of the select statement. So now that we have discussed the basic methods of defining the select statements and using the expressions in the test expression and in the case expression, we can also nest the statements. Just like the if conditions, we can nest the statements. So we can place it in the case 3, and then we can write select if the case my var is greater than 2. So we can then go for the true one, and then we can console dot write line true. It did not match the case. We'll just match the case over here. And now you can see it gave us both of the statements, because what it exactly has done is that it goes first of all to this case, and because this case is matched, it goes then to running all of the statements under it, which runs this statement. So we have the output of the greater than, and then we have this select case, and then it again confirms to true. So we also get this statement.